The Canon 650D or Rebel T4i was produced and released to the market in 2012, and it was not just only for videographers. The photographers was also thought of. A decade or more later, I'm giving you 7 reasons why I think this camera has become a classic. Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Overdue for Overdue Media Production. What we do here, we review just cameras and gear that actually will help low budget filmmakers and photographers like me. And of course, if you are also a hobby photographer or videographer, you probably consider subscribing to this channel, because I'll be dropping some gems and juice on some cameras that can actually get you started. So the number one reason why I got this camera in 2021, or why I think this camera has become a classic, is the fact that this camera actually has a flip screen. You can't overemphasize the function of a flip screen. Talking to the camera, if you're a YouTube creator like me, you can actually frame from above and whatever angles that a lot of camera won't be able to offer you. The second reason why I got this camera, or why I think this camera is a classic, is the fact that this camera actually has a touch screen. The touch screen is just so useful because you can change your settings on the go. Imagine being able to just change your aperture on the screen. Not just the aperture, you can change your ISO, you can change your frame rate, you can change your whatever it is you want to do as far as navigating this camera is concerned. You can do it by just on the screen. So the touch screen is definitely no brainer, and in 2021 and beyond, that's a function you definitely will consider when you're buying a camera. The number 3 reason why I think this camera is actually a no-brainer is the fact that with the EF mount, you have a wide range of lenses that you can actually use with this camera. I bought mine, for instance, with the kit lens. The kit lens, of course, is also one of the best lenses I think you can actually invest in, because with the kit lens, you have image stabilization, you have autofocus, it's light, although plasticky, but for less than 50 bucks, you can actually find this gem. And of course, with the wide angle, it actually helps when you're trying to capture where you don't have a lot of space. If you're like me and you wish to have a more wider aperture, you can invest in the 50mm 1.8, which is actually very cheap. Nifty 50 that you can find under 50 bucks. I got mine, for instance, for less than 50 bucks, and it's even the metal bayonet. I was lucky because I bought it with an old camera. I was able to, still make use of that lens in 2021 with a camera that was made in 2012. So that's why I say that with the EF mount, you have a wide option, and of course you can always get more lenses as the time goes on. Even if you finally sell the body of the camera, you still have the lenses, and the value of lenses don't actually depreciate that fast. So the number 4 reason why I actually bought this camera in 2021 is the fact that this camera can still film up to this day. Full HD. The full HD resolution is still resolution that is still acceptable to this day. But we know that more options are on the table when you use the 4K resolution or the 8K resolution. I'd rather have my resolution on full HD, and of course I know that will eat up my SD card and will be easier on my computer to edit. So let's say you are also on holiday, you won't probably be thinking of just capturing all the moments you want to on your holiday with the 4K. So the full HD is definitely one of the reasons why I bought this camera. But I'm not going to leave this point actually talking about the fact that you can capture images in 50 frames or 60 frames per second that you probably slow down when you're editing just to get some slow motion. It might not be the best, even the resolution is not full HD, but then it's just good to know that you still have these options in this camera even after 10 years. So if you're looking forward to getting those slow motions that you probably be seeing on those movies or seeing on those music video, if you have just 200 bucks and even lesser to invest on a camera, the Canon 650D or Rebel T4i is definitely a camera that you consider. So the 5th reason why I got this camera in 2021 is the fact that this camera is actually very easy to navigate. The interface won't give you a sleepless night. I actually started in my videography world with Nikon D5100 back in the days in 2010, and I migrated into the Panasonic platform. I've not actually used the Canon, but I got this a couple of weeks ago and I didn't even read the manual at all. All you have to do, go to the menu and you can actually see all the settings that is available. Very easy to navigate. So that's one of the reasons why I got this camera, because I know I'm not going to get a sleepless night trying to learn the features of the camera.
To this day,
the 18 megapixel is still one of those megapixel or size of megapixel that is still very useful in photography. So except you're actually capturing images or producing for a very large media, the 18 megapixel is enough for your holiday pictures, even for your photography, for your travel photography, street photography. It comes out super clean. With the 18 megapixel, you can actually capture very wonderful images. So it's good to know that when you have this camera, if you're thinking of, quality photos, you definitely be able to make it with it. The seventh or the last reason I'll be giving for today why I bought this camera, or why I think this camera is actually a classic camera in 2021 and beyond, is the fact that this camera price to function ratio is unbeatable. The price in the market till now still falls between $150 or about $250, depending on how neat. If at some point you want to actually upgrade to a bigger camera or upgrade to a more expensive camera, selling this camera is not and will not be a problem, because this camera has a very good resale value. If you are selling this camera or putting it in the market, I can assure you that you get 90 if not 100% of your money that you invested. I just want to say, if you've watched this video and enjoyed it till now, please consider subscribing or just smashing the like button, because that will definitely help us and help this channel grow. So before I leave, I'll give you some more features that I did mention in the 7 points, but are still worth actually talking about in this camera. With this camera, you can actually preview your videos using the inbuilt speaker. So that is a value that I personally, as a videographer, find very useful. That's the built-in speaker. You can actually use an external microphone if you're worried, or you're a journalist, you want to be capturing interview and all that. If you have a good full HD, you definitely consider also how you can get some very quality audio. So with the help of a third-party microphone, you can actually use the audio inputs to capture very wonderful crispy audio. And not forgetting the HDMI port is also built in it. This camera for a long time is going to remain in the hands of a lot of people. As for me, I bought it as my second camera. While I use the GH5 to make videos, I just love to have a dedicated camera to making photos, and I'll be sharing some of the photos that I made during the weekend and for a couple of weeks that I've had this gem. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.